Hey Bear, are you interested in today's garden update? Probably not. Garden isn't your concern. You'll just poop in there and be like, I just pooped in the garden. Can I run through it? Okay. Anyways, that's Bear. There's our pups. Bear is my neighbor. So here's today's garden update. This garden update is sponsored by Holland Import, which stop jumping on me, Bear. I found this in my fridge. I don't even know where that came from. So I don't have too much going on over here. I just bought some Pro Mix soil because I like using this stuff. I'll take this, mix it up into here with compost and dirt, and then that is what I transplant plants in here. Otherwise, like I mentioned the other time, I'll buy this stuff and use my seedlings to start in there. Anyways, so nothing really going on the seedling front. I'm kind of done with that section for now. I might plant some dill and stuff here in a second, but quit it, Bear. Down. Anyway, so here's the mushroom compost blocks. At this point, they're done. They're not producing any more mushrooms. So what I got them for originally anyways is just to make them into mulch. So I shred them up and break them up like these guys over here, hit them with a sledge or something. Then I'll run them over the lawnmower. I'll throw in a whole bunch of coffee, which I still have tons of coffee left. And then I will mix those mushroom compost blocks, which is this all chunked up and broken. Now that I stepped on it, it's made of sawdust and soybean hulls. And when I run it over with the lawnmower, it breaks down into a finely shredded mulch, which over the course of the year will turn into dirt. And I mix a bunch of coffee up in there also, but I'll just run that over with the lawnmower and take the lawnmower bag and then mix it into the garden, which I'll show you here in a second. So let me get back into focus here. But yes, a bunch of coffee bags over here. I just grabbed some more. Sometimes I have been known to grab them straight from the Starbucks dumpster. I try to avoid that, but right now it's a pandemic. All shit, anything goes. So over here now I have my hops. My hops are almost to the top of the fence. It's kind of hard to see, but you can see it right there. There's hops to the top of my fence. I need to expand this because they want to still grow taller, but these guys have taken off like nobody's business this year. I still have oregano, some chives. My artichoke plant died. I think my last video showed it being infested, and now it didn't fully die. There's a couple sprouts left, so I cut back everything else, and those guys are taking over. But I'll show you an artichoke that I have growing elsewhere here in a minute. But otherwise, I haven't really done too much to this. I'm going to add a whole bunch of that broken down mulch into this spot here pretty soon, and then that's what this was covered with, but it just turns into dirt after a while. So there's a couple strawberry plants. Those haven't produced anything. Back in the corner is the tiniest, weakest Cascade plant that's Cascade hops, so that's kind of coming off. So over here, these rows are almost totally done. I'm about to finish off that section with that bucket of dirt right there because I have some tomatillos I'm transplanting. Down here we have some beets. Those guys are taking off. I think that's marigold. And so there's a couple marigold plants. I'm not sure what else is going to be there. There's peppers, potatoes, onions, a bunch of root veggies like radishes and carrots. I think radishes are mainly what's showing up. There's going to be white and red radishes. Those are squash plants. There's some watermelon. This section is going to be for tomatillos. It took a while to get my sprouts ready, so I haven't transplanted them yet because they weren't ready to transplant. That pepper looks really weak, but those peppers look fine. These peppers look okay. There's something munching on the leaves on some of these, so I need to watch for caterpillars. This tomato plant has not... I just lost a leaf. Move it, Bear. I plant some onions right around the tomatoes as I needed, just to fill in space. I'm not sure how well those will go, but we'll see. These watermelon plants are still haven't taken off or done too much yet, but broccoli is getting bigger. Cauliflower's over here. There's some yellowish spots on there. I'm not sure what's going on. The snap peas over here is basically dying off. It hit 94 degrees the other day, which set the record for April at this point in the year, at least around that day. So these guys are almost done. They don't like 90-degree temperatures. So I might get a few more peas out of this, but otherwise I'll rip those up and probably replace this aisle of peas with basil. So basil is going to be the plant over there. Still got a bunch of lettuce over there. Still kind of walking you through. There's a bunch of onions and garlic. There's a mustard green. There's celery. Tomatoes are coming into play now. Peppers are all over here. Some pepper plants look much better than others. That's kind of hit or miss. I see that frequently every year. So we got some tomato plants. Like here is a move it, Bear. You can tell Bear is interested in this scenario, but there's a Super Sioux over there. Those were Bush Early Girls. There's some Golden Girl tomatoes. Super Sweet 100s over here. So here's all my seedlings still. I got some Israel melons still going. There's some random tomatoes sprouting. I have some poblano peppers, which once they get bigger, I'm going to transplant. Romanesco broccoli, a bunch of things that never showed up. Still a bunch of, those are almost a whole tray of pink pounders. I still have some Super Sweet 100s and black crims, which are usually my favorites. This little thing of tomatoes were actually just all sprouts in the garden, which I transplanted, and now they're all looking good. I have no idea what tomato variety it is. There's some celery. These are little basils, and there's some more. There's like some tomatillos over here, more basil. Get down, Bear, down! Sorry, he doesn't know any better, but he's ruining my plants. So here's the thing of compost. Like, this is most of what was left from the bottom of this compost pile. The rest of this compost isn't totally ready to go, but I'm still using it anyways. And then this is the current compost pile, so I'll just take a nasty bucket of compost crap, dump it in the middle over here, and then boop, there's the compost. Everything from coffee grinds to old cilantro stems and eggshells, anything that didn't get used in the kitchen goes in here. Oh crap, I'm dripping beer. But anyway, so here's the what's left of when I shred that mulch. This is what I have, and I'll take this mulch mixture basically, and this will be the base of a lot of my compost. So right now there's a whole crap load of grass in here. I need to mix it with this stuff. So I'll take this and dump a bunch in and stir it up and stuff. But otherwise, let me show what I'm doing else otherwise over here. So I have a whole bunch of other plants over here. Well, I'm going to drop this thing. So I was going to add it, but I need to add some more other stuff. But you can see what I'm doing over here. So I'll add some newspaper down, then I'll throw down some cardboard paper on top of that from the leaf bags mostly, so I try to reuse all of this crap. And I get a lot of stuff for free. All these crates were free. Even the metal crates were out of a dumpster at a manufacturing facility that were chunking them because they got dented. And I guess that was 5S where they throw away dented stuff. So anyways, I still have my horse manure, rabbit manure, and horse manure over here. And the rabbit manure I can use as needed, but it's all chunky, so I'm having to kind of grind it through a manure grinder. Not the most fun hobby, but you know, whatever. Doing a garden, you're going to deal with a lot of shit, literally. So these two rows are completely planted. There's a bunch of zucchini and squash, butternut squash, yellow squash, honeydew melons, watermelons, cantaloupes, Israel melons, cucumbers, and quite a few other stuff. So I'm trying to figure out what else I want to plant. Maybe I'll do another row of cucumbers still, but I still have there's okra in that first row where you don't see anything. I just threw down seeds, but there's 4 more rows to plant, but that's most of my garden space left. So here's my blackberries. No blackberries. Oh well, actually, there you go. There's the blackberries starting to show up. So they're on their way now, and blackberries just keep expanding. So when you give them a spot, they're just going to keep taking over and expand outward, and you're going to have to rip up shoots, and you'll be like, hey, you need a blackberry plant, because my blackberries invading the rest of the garden. So anyways, so tomatoes are all over here. This is mostly tomatoes. Here's some eggplant down this aisle. This is going to be basil. Something is eating the basil leaves. That's how it goes. This is the newest variety I just added, or newest plot. I just added this. It was mostly a giant pile of mulch last time I posted a picture, but I added some dirt to the bottom and then just raked over the pile of mulch. The pile of mulch sat there for a year. It broke down incredibly well. So you basically, as long as you add a little bit of dirt, you can just plant directly in there. So I've added corn, garden beans, and yellow squash for a Three Sisters garden section right over here. And this whole section right now, with you don't see much of anything, is actually just filled with all sorts of random seeds. So it's going to explode into who knows what, because I just kind of like throwing out a bunch of empty seeds every now and then and just be like, what's going to happen? I don't know. Let a little chaos into the garden. But otherwise, I have my potatoes going over here. This is my cilantro plant. It's really the last cilantro plant I have. They don't like the summer or heat, so they bolt to seed and turn into coriander, which I'll show you a little bit more of because I'm about to rip out a whole bunch of coriander plants and harvest those. But otherwise, these are my potatoes. I'm going to keep adding dirt, although I'm running out of dirt. I've used up most everything. I need to get to this dirt inside of this thing once this guy harvests. But otherwise, I need to add more dirt to my potatoes, so I'll add more of the mulch mixture into there. But otherwise, that's the current scenario on that front. I will continue moving. I've got a couple more bags with potatoes. I've grabbed some oregano and transplanted it. I have asparagus growing all over the place in here, and I've been harvesting a lot. These are my broccoli plants. They are now past flowering into seed production, so they have these little pods at the end, and inside of those will be all the pods. But as soon as that's done and they start browning, I'm going to rip them all up and replace them with other plants. So that's how it goes. But otherwise, then there's coriander everywhere. So these were all my cilantro plants that just exploded, and then they turn into coriander, which are these little seed pods. So after those are done, once they start browning, like this guy right here is just about ready to rip up. I could literally rip them up and start drying it out, but I'll give it another few days. But as soon as those are done, then I get to reclaim all this garden space back. And I'm going to try to throw in some more asparagus in here. So I have some asparagus sprouts or seeds planted just so I can transplant a few more asparagus plants if I want. But otherwise, that's how everything's going over here. I have more potatoes. There's some carrots. I should plant more carrots. I did not plant enough. Carrots are something I need to get better at growing, but otherwise I'm getting slowly but surely figuring everything out. So and also I think I mentioned a little bit, but a lot of this stuff is all free. I got these old crates, have old like refrigerator stuff. All these wood ties are all just old fence posts. I get free crap all the time. I try not to be a total dumpster diver, but I'll still like grab stuff and then use it for the garden whenever I see something. Like I grabbed this just yesterday, this old baseball locker, and I'm just going to use it to store stuff inside to keep it out of the sun. So it's like an MLB locker, but I don't care. I like to use it. Oh yeah, look, it's careerweb.com's old employment guide, but I use it to keep my fertilizer out of the way from bugs and plants and stuff, because the dogs will be like, bone meal, I'll eat that. But anyway, so otherwise I planted an apricot tree also, and I pulled out this pole which was 3-something feet in the ground. So this pole or this hole was 3 feet deep, and that plant isn't 3 feet deep, it's at the root base. But otherwise I've just now started a new apricot tree, which I'm hoping I can make apricot sours out of. And otherwise, that's the current scenario of the garden. Last time I gave you more of an overview, but that's kind of update number 2 for what we've got going on. So I've just kind of blathered on, but I'll keep things functional. It's almost totally planted, just a few more rows left, and then rip out old plants and plant new plants. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to plant, but otherwise this is mostly done. So that's the current update. Peace.